Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 My Career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we take on race 3 of the 2021 season. It's the Chinese Grand Prix, fresh off of Max Verstappen's 9th career win last episode, as we have an exciting one on the way in. Well, this is coming fresh off the news that the F1 26 game actually has been cancelled. There's not going to be a new F1 game next year, so that kind of changes the kind of plan for this channel in terms of content, kind of more in a clear picture of, well, this series is going to take the obvious forefront until, I guess, 2027 really for sure, as, you know, F1 25, of course. I am now that we know we're not getting another game, my probable plan is that I'm going to stop the F1 25 series after the current season, and then I will simply focus in on this series as, you know, kind of our main content on the channel. And then when we get the DLC on F1 25, I'll do like an F1 26 career mode, but that would be as far as that would go, of course, with the new cars and whatnot. But I mean, this would still be the forefront for the next, now I guess, a year and a half at least. So this is not something new to me. As you guys know, I am mainly a NASCAR content creator for the gaming space with my main channel of Going, and we went 4 years without a NASCAR game, and we just finally got a new one literally a month ago. So this is nothing new to me, and honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's a positive step in the right direction. That honestly, it sucks that the F1 community, we're not getting a new game next year. I think it's actually a long-term positive, on one condition, that they absolutely knock F1 27 out of the park, because if that is not one of the best F1 games of all time, then they've lost the battle officially. And I'm not convinced that F1 27 is going to be a good game, because at the end of the day, EA is at the top of the ladder, and yeah, they oversee everything. So as long as they are involved, I don't really have a lot of confidence in the product that we will be getting. So nonetheless, focusing back in right here, qualifying for the Chinese Grand Prix. It actually started out wet, but it would dry up before the end of Q1, so I didn't bother going out early in the session. I would wait till the very end when the track was at its driest, and now it's a normally dry racetrack. So it shouldn't take much for myself to get into Q2 as we round the final hairpin, and just one corner left to go, and overall I was pretty content with my lap. It wasn't a perfect lap by any means, but we round the final turn with the DRS, and we cross the stripe, and we put ourselves in P13, which I was confident I could do better than that, but we'll wait and see. Now, as you can see, Schwartzman, Giovinazzi, Schumacher, Ocon, and Latifi all out in Q1. Into Q2, the sun's starting to peek out a little bit now. The cloud's starting to disappear. We got some blue sky above us, and overall, looking to just get into Q3 would be a nice step after the kind of messy race that we had in Vietnam last episode. Of course, the governor of the city announced that that was going to be the last race in Vietnam for the foreseeable future for Formula 1. Now is actually make a mistake there in the final hairpin, lock up the right front. This is early in Q2. However, we would manage to come through the final turn and set a relatively solid lap, and really it was good enough to even beat Valtteri Bottas and Alex Albon, so I didn't have to make another lap. Myself and Ricardo both in the top 5. Sainz, Vettel, Norris, Russell, and Perez all out. A bit surprised by Russell when Lance Stroll gets in. Not surprised by Vettel, but Leclerc does get into the top 10. But of course, Sebastian Vettel, Ferrari, they have been kind of lacking this season as we come through into Q3. And I would run 2 laps. My first lap, I would go P7, looking for some gains, and I was confident I could set a better lap here on lap 2, so I decided to stay out and keep going here as I go a little bit wide on the apex, give up some time, go back into the red there, into the negative, but we find some positive pretty quickly thereafter, as overall just throughout this lap I kind of knew there was little spots I could gain a little bit of time. I didn't really think I was going to get a huge gain, maybe a couple tenths, but those couple tenths, I mean, in qualifying can gain you multiple positions and completely change the complexion of your race. That's just the harsh reality of Formula 1, as we have found 0.2 of a second as we come through into this final sector, but now we're giving that time back up now to just 3/4 of a tenth now as we continue down the long DRS straight, and it's all going to be about this hairpin. I brake pretty late into the hairpin and got through there pretty good, but we give up some time on exit, and now it's only like going to be maybe half a tenth, but how do we get through this final turn is going to determine everything. Not great coming to the line, and yeah, it's like half a tenth gain, but that actually gains us 1 position over Pierre Gasly and we would hold in P6. Max Verstappen on pole over Bottas, Hamilton, Albon, Ricciardo, and myself there put us P5 and P6 with our brand new livery on the car here, the black and yellow. It's very beautiful as we get ready to go racing here in Shanghai. We did have some media availability, however, with Claire just after qualifying.
The weather hasn't been ideal in qualifying. What's your take on it?
I mean, I'm an F1 driver. I get paid to race in any weather conditions, so at this level, I mean, you have to be able to perform in any weather conditions.
It's got to be a relief to qualify that far up the grid.
I mean, after last week for sure, but I mean, I didn't expect anything less. We got the car we need, so you just got to push yourself hard.
It looks like your rival bested you today, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah, Daniel, he's a great driver. I have a lot to learn from him. I mean, I'm getting closer to him, though, and I think we proved that here today, so hopefully we'll be even better tomorrow.
Great. Well, that's everything.
It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. Shanghai International Circuit then, a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and overtaking is available into turn 1 and of course down the kilometre-long back straight into the hairpin at turn 14. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Albon, Daniel Ricciardo, the Rainmaster, Gasly, Stroll, Leclerc, and Daniel Kvyat, Sainz, Vettel, Lando Norris, and Perez, Magnussen, Giovinazzi, George Russell, and Esteban Ocon, Matsushita, and Nicholas Latifi. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Right then, it's going to be a 2-stop race here today from Shanghai, starting on the soft tires that we qualified on, which got probably a lap extra wear compared to some of our competitors. We'll be going on to mediums, and then maybe another set. Maybe we could end up switching to hards, but nonetheless, it's going to be a 2-stop here today. And Formula One actually announced coming into this weekend that starting next season, the top 10 drivers in qualifying will no longer have to start on the tires that they qualified on, simply due to the fact that it kind of screws up the races, and they're getting tired of it, where we saw in Bahrain, Carlos Sainz won Bahrain. I mean, I guess it does create some wild scenarios where a driver that qualified worse than 10th can one-stop the race and hang on through traffic, and the leaders, the fast car struggling through traffic. But just more for fairness, Formula One has decided starting next season, the rule will go away, and drivers, everybody can now start on a fresh set of tires, so nobody will have an advantage over anyone going into the race. I think that's the right move, as I thought it was cool at the start of the career mode, and then I quickly got over it now, as we are ready to go racing here from the Chinese Grand Prix. Max Verstappen in control. We're racing here from Shanghai now. It's a bit of a sloppy start for myself. Through goes Gasly on the AlphaTauri. Leclerc as well to the left side, clears us into turn number 1, and now I'm going to slip up the inside of the Monegasque driver, our good old pal Leclerc, who's going to run me out of room. Leclerc runs me into the grass. Acts like I'm not even there, trying to reignite that old rivalry, are we? As we come out of the first few corners at least clean and green. No damage we picked up, but immediately I'm just like, okay, it's game on. We are not playing this game again, so I'm going to lunge up the inside of Leclerc and get the position on him, saying, hey, it's fair game. You ignited it. I'm going to be the one that comes out on top of that one. Verstappen gets away from Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas here in these opening corners. Alex Albon settles into P4. Now the one-time race winner looking for a second win win today. If Max Verstappen wins today, it will be his 10th career win here in Formula 1, as Hamilton trails, trying to get closer to that 100th career win now as he chases that elusive 7th title that he came up just short of last season to the now one-time champ in Formula 1, Valtteri Bottas, as we've settled in behind Pierre Gasly here as we continue down through the carousel and heading downhill right here into the long straightaway. We get a really nice run. We got that Renault power. We'll pull out a line here and get the DRS, sorry, not DRS, we are just on lap 1, but we'll clear the Frenchman into P6, and now we kind of settle back into where we were originally to start this race. So next up is trying to kind of mount some pressure on our teammate here of Daniel Ricciardo and see if we can maybe get after him and get up into the top 5, but now we're kind of back on form. You know, Vietnam was a bit of an anomaly, just a track that I have not really been comfortable with, as Ricciardo really slow on the exit there of the hairpin here on the end of lap 2, and you can right off the bat see that the Mercedes and the Red Bulls are driving away from us. They just got more pace than we do here at Renault. I feel like, honestly, we are like the 3rd to 4th best team here today, so we've got some really good pace, and we've driven away from Gasly and the cars behind, so we've got no DRS, feeding to anyone behind us, as we're going to go for a bit of a slide here into these first couple of corners now, and over the next few laps here to lap 4 at this point, and you can see myself and Ricciardo kind of solidifying ourselves on an island of our own, as the cars in front of us have driven away by a few seconds, and then we put a couple seconds on the cars behind. Leclerc actually moving his way in front of Pierre Gasly. They are scrapping it out back there as we continue to just kind of hang around with each other here, myself and my Australian teammate of Danny Rick now, as we both are still well aware that, I mean, there is a chance we could be out of a ride at the end of this season, considering how the Renault prospect of Oscar Piastri performs over the course of this season here in F2. We are going to be the first of the front runners to pit on the two-stop strategy. Charles Leclerc is coming in behind us as well, and so is the rookie of Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri, as we'll get the softs off and the mediums go on. Had to wait a little bit there for the AlphaTauri to go by. We come out, though, nonetheless comfortably in front of the Ferrari. It's a 2.5-second pit stop overall, and we'll exit, of course, in P18 at the very bottom of the grid. So those first, 4 complete laps were all about just giving it everything I had until I had a bit, because I knew that we were going to be in this situation where we're going to be playing catch-up to everybody that qualified in 11th on down. So this is not going to be an easy race for us to kind of finish where I think we should, as Ricciardo and Gasly now come in a lap later. As we start lap 6, we're going to easily pass our teammate of Ricciardo, so that 1 lap difference of pitting earlier is going to make a full second-plus difference on the racetrack. We've got ourselves in really good shape here right off the bat, but of course, I'm looking at the track map, and I see that first group of cars of Verstappen, Bottas, Hamilton, Albon. It seems like they're trying something different. Now, Alex Albon would eventually pit, and so would Lewis Hamilton, but they've all done something different than myself, Ricciardo, Gasly, and Leclerc as we're working our way through traffic. You see on the leaderboard, what's Hamilton done? He's done hard tires. That is different. So what they have done, and this is something I didn't even think about, and Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen are both coming into the pits right now doing the same thing. They are putting on hard tires. Sorry, Verstappen's already pit. That was Albon that was staying out longer, but they are all putting on the hard compound tire, and they are one-stopping this race. It was something that didn't even cross my mind as an option, and the team didn't really come up with this as an idea either. And we come up behind Alex Albon and Valtteri Bottas. We might have a chance here to get Albon, actually, so let's try and catch him off guard. I think we can drive away from him in this part of the run, considering he's on hards, we're on mediums, and we can maybe stay in the DRS of Bottas and drive away. But these guys, these top 4 guys now, they don't have to pit for the rest of this race, so they just solidified themselves as the top 4. They don't even have to get through this traffic that they're in front of right now, because they're not pitting again, and everybody else still has to pit around them. So they have made an absolutely genius call at Red Bull and Mercedes, while the likes of our team, Ferrari with Leclerc, AlphaTauri with Gasly, we've all screwed up and dropped the ball here, because we still all have to pit one more time. There is no way I'm managing my tires long enough to get these mediums another 19 laps just about of racing. So yeah, we've screwed up, and now, I feel like we've maybe learned something. It feels like the field has learned something after getting bit by the way the tires are and the strategies here because of the qualifying thing. So it seems like now the one stop is the way to go, by just jumping onto the hard tire and going to the end of the race. Maybe it's not going to work at other tracks, but it looks like it's going to work here for these guys. So I wasn't really trying to mount too much pressure on Valtteri Bottas because I knew at this point that that was a race that I'm no longer involved in. I knew he was going to be on a completely different strategy and driving away. We've got enough speed on the mediums to actually hold on with these guys, so that is something that's good for us to learn now early in the season of like, okay, we're on a softer tire and we've got pretty competitive pace to hold on against the Mercedes, so that's some pretty promising stuff we are learning. We have driven away from Alex Albon. He's almost 2 seconds behind me at this point as we continue to just kind of follow the reigning world champion of Valtteri Bottas now as we round the left-hander and continue to just kind of stay in that DRS range within a second as Verstappen is very, very comfortably driving away here into the lead of this race. And I mean, of course, the net lead, I should say. He is not currently actually leading as we continue just staying in that DRS range of the Mercedes in front of us and kind of letting him pull me along now, and that's allowed me to extend the gap to Albon by nearly 3 seconds. Schwartzman's now coming in, and others. Sebastian Vettel is one stopping this race after missing Q3. Sainz is in as well. Lando Norris currently out in front. He still has to pit. Sergio Perez still has to pit. Those are the only two left yet to make a pit stop in front of us now. So, I mean, once this nets out, I mean, we're going to gain, what, 2 more spots? We're going to be P4, I think, right? Because, yeah, we're in front of Albon, so we would be in P4, but the unfortunate side of things is we got to pit again, and we're going to have to pass a bunch of cars because we're going to have to pass Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, all those types of drivers that have had pretty decent pace throughout this race. So now comes in Perez and Norris, and we move up to P4, yellow flags behind, waiting. That's Alex Albon, an engine gone on the Red Bull, and that's the second mechanical failure that team's had in 3 races this season. In Bahrain, it was Verstappen. Today, it's Albon. As you can see, pit stops underway from Perez as the virtual safety car was deployed due to that. And now I was hoping the VSC would stay out for the remainder of the lap and we could pit, but unfortunately not the case. The VSC ends actually pretty shortly after it came out, so we'll get back racing, and we do have to come in on the end of lap 16, so we're going to run one more lap and have Bottas pull us along. And sure enough, we're coming to the end of lap 16 now, and we'll come in and unfortunately make this pit stop. I really wish that we, were smart enough to do that strategy that they're doing, because it'd be a completely different race. We'd be up there battling right now for a top 4, maybe even a podium for the first time. But unfortunately, we just dropped the ball, and we got to make our call to go on to the second set of mediums here. And the only positive that comes out of this is I know that I can race as hard as I possibly can from this point to the end of the race. The tires are going to be able to take it. Leclerc's come in now as well, so is Pierre Gasly. They're in the same boat as us, and we exit in P12. Now we know Ricciardo has to come in front of us still, so that's guaranteed another spot on the way, and we'll have to wait and see outside of that. But nonetheless, I mean, we have run down Sergio Perez pretty quickly as Verstappen hits the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. It's Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas, your top 3, and they are all untouched now, as Alex Albon, of course, not in the conversation either after the retirement here in this Shanghai Chinese Grand Prix. Our teammate of Ricciardo is in. Gasly's just now pitting. We would pass them both. We're way ahead of Ricciardo and Gasly now as well. So after all was said and done, we had gotten ourselves up to P8 after passing Perez. We were now in front of Lance Stroll as well, and now we're really in a situation of just spending these final 8 laps of just trying to make up over 6 seconds on George Russell and Lando Norris. Can we run them down in the closing laps of this race? Carlos Sainz currently in 4th position, Sebastian Vettel in 5th. How about Sebastian Vettel? He continues to outperform that car this season, as it's all Verstappen out in front here over Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Now the top 3, the podium. It's the 2 Mercedes trying to run down the Red Bull, as in P4 we talked about. There you see Carlos Sainz, but Vettel is getting much closer to the Spaniard here now as Lando Norris trails further back with George Russell right there with him as well. Then you see myself here as we continue to just try and drive away from fellow Canadian of Lance Stroll and reel in those cars in front. There's Charles Leclerc working on Robert Schwartzman. There's our teammate of Ricciardo as well, having a decent run. And you got the AlphaTauris there of Gasly, as well as his rookie teammate of Yuki Tsunoda, as we continue on seeing the Williams running like absolute hot garbage at the back of the field. They are terrible. Of course, with Esteban Ocon and Nicholas Latifi at the team this season, they are unbelievable. unbelievably slow. The bottom two teams, Haas and Williams, they are just so far off the pace compared to the rest of the field. So it's kind of hard to get an idea of, where those drivers are stacking up, to be completely honest. So, I mean, maybe it kind of solidifies them a ride going forward, but we continue to close in on George Russell. We've got the gap below 5 seconds, and we are currently gaining enough time to get to George Russell and Lando Norris by the end of this race. And as the laps would progress to lap 25, Sebastian Vettel had gotten past Carlos Sainz and had taken over 4th position, and Sainz was actually dropping back. He is now dropped back to the nose of his teammate of Lando Norris and George Russell there in the Racing Point. Now, as we are approaching 3 laps to go, the gap just over 3 seconds. It continues to come down at a rate of fast enough to where we will catch this group by the end of this race. But we should have been, P4, and instead we are trying to run down P7, so that's disappointing. I'm happy that we're going to at least get a points result, but I mean, what could have been, right? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at here today now as we come to 2 laps to go in this race, and sure enough, we have run down Russell. Norris has not been able to pass Carlos Sainz, but he's got some DRS right here that's going to allow him to get closer as we approach the final lap of this race, so Sainz would stay ahead as Max Verstappen is in complete control as we have gotten right to the back of Russell. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get all 3 of these guys, especially now. Big mistake, we slide on the final lap. We might be able to get Russell, but I don't think we're going to get really further than that, as we are now into rich fuel mixture here, just pushing as hard as we can on this final lap here in the Chinese Grand Prix. As for the battle up front, Max Verstappen in complete control through the final hairpin. He was in control from start to finish, just like he was in Vietnam. Rounds the final turn. Max Verstappen, hello double-digit wins. His 10th career win comes in Shanghai over Lewis Hamilton now, as we've got the DRS on George Russell, and to the right side we go. We'll pass him easily there. He was even in harvesting mode as we close up on the back of Norris, who can't quite make a move on Sainz, and that's as far as we're going to get unless the McLaren makes a mistake, which he does not. He's in control. It's P7, a decent rebound, but we know it could have been and should have been better. But we exit the final turn, rear wing open. It's a season high result, but I'm disappointed. Honestly, we could have done so much better. We end up P7 here in China. It is what it is. Brand new livery on the car. It looks absolutely beautiful, and I'm glad we could at least get some points out of it as Sebastian Vettel rightfully wins Driver of the Day. I mean, what a drive from Sebastian Vettel again. Like I said, he's kind of outperforming the way that car is this season, as he's been, able to be up in the top 5 pretty consistently now, and honestly, I think increasing his stock. This is not going to be a championship contending season for Sebastian Vettel, but he is saying, hey, like, look what I'm capable of in a car that's quite a ways down the order in the R&D. So, yeah, I'm really going to be curious to see kind of what Sebastian Vettel's kind of future is going to look like here now as Max Verstappen gets to celebrate career win number 10. There you see the rest of the order. Ricciardo ends up pointless here in P11, as Albon, the only DNF at the bottom of the grid. Esteban Ocon lost out to Nicholas Latifi. That's not pretty. Looking at the standings, though, to cap off today's episode, of course, and Max Verstappen's won the last 2 races, and that's put him at the top of the board by 9 points over Lewis Hamilton. Carlos Sainz drops down to 3rd with a tie with Sebastian Vettel as Bottas moves into P5. Mercedes takes the lead in the constructors over McLaren. Red Bull, Ferrari are all super, super tight going into the next episode. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.